Hello and welcome everyone. We're gonna be taking a break from all the complex games we've been playing so far. I'm gonna try something a bit more casual, and this is it, Shattered Planet. A lot of people call this a roguelite game, which is basically a roguelike. What does roguelike mean for some of you might be asking? We constantly hear all of these technical fancy words like roguelike, procedurally generated world, and randomly generated stuff like. What does that mean? It basically means that every time you enter a level or an area in this game and explore it, it will be different from the last time you entered the exact same level. And of course, it has what are our roguelike games anyway? They basically, yes, they have procedurally generated, randomly generated dungeons which are different every time you enter them, and they have some RPG elements like it's very basic stuff like leveling up, increasing your powers, changing your equipment, finding loot and changing them and stuff like that. And of course, it's turn-based. That's probably one of the most common characteristics of roguelike games. They're turn-based, much like all the other games I have played so far. What else? But this one in particular is Rogue-lite. It's basically like a more casual, simplified version. It's actually quite simple, and we don't need a lot of explanations. In fact, you can probably explain everything about this game in just 15, 20 minutes. I'm probably going to take more than that because I talk too much, but hey. It's actually available on mobile as well, mobile phones. I've played this on my Galaxy Note 4, Samsung Galaxy Note 4, but the problem with the mobile is that the controls are extremely awkward, very frustrating. If you want to click on a specific tile in order to move your character, you can't. Your character's gonna move all over the place because it's a very small space you have to click on, very precise. I tried using the pen, which comes with a Note 4 basically, but again, sometimes it doesn't work. I click on it, I click on a specific tile, sometimes the character moves, sometimes they don't. It just doesn't respond very well. Again, the controls are terrible on the mobile phone. Even though it's free to play there, I feel like it's not very well done. There are a few bugs here and there, especially on the newer devices. If you want to buy it on Steam, though, it's available for $15. I think it's a bit on the high end considering what you get. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of replayability for this, but it still feels like it's a bit too high considering that it's a very simple game. I would have expected this to be available for like maybe $10 maximum, and actually I decided to buy it on discount for like maybe $7, which is the maximum price I would pay for a game like this. But still, there's quite a bit of replayability for it, and you're gonna enjoy it. If you're having a project or you're sitting in the office doing nothing, just waiting for something new to happen, or taking a break, this is a good game to play while you're drinking your coffee. It's a very casual oriented. Anyways, there's nothing to change the options. You can see here very simple options. I usually go for windowed mode. I might actually, let's go for the full screen this time around. It's actually better. I might actually even increase the resolution a little bit. Right now we're going with this. Okay, this one's actually slightly better, I think. Yeah, much better. Anyways, we're gonna jump in. So what's the story of this game? You're basically on a planet and you're trying to explore it. What happens is, so you have multiple characters you can control, and you create a clone of yourself and you send that clone down. It's never specified whether you are the real guy or you are the clone, like where's the real person. It's never actually shown. But this game is not oriented towards storytelling. It's basically just sending a clone down, exploring the world, unlocking multiple, filling up your library, trying to explore everything. You can see here I've explored quite a bit of it. These are all the terrain varieties I have unlocked. I have only 2 remaining. I have no idea what these are, but I've pretty much explored all these. So the higher you get through the levels, the more you will unlock. I'm trying to organize my thoughts here. Okay, let's start with the characters. What you have available is these guys. When you first start the game, you have only this guy available, the Renegade. He's basically more of a tanky kind of guy. Now they don't have any unique abilities besides these. I think, this is pretty much all the difference between them. For example, the assassin has a bonus to using guns, which is probably my favorite because I like guns. Basically, it gives you some range, it gives you more tactical advantage. It's a cool idea. This guy, for example. Now, by the way, when you first start the game, you only have this guy available, so that's why I leveled him up to level 8. But then, as soon as I unlocked the assassin, I focused on her right away. Eventually, I might actually try the Exile, who has 50% companion health. Pretty cool if you have companions. As you can see, I do have a companion here. I actually acquired this guy from one of the special missions you can do, and he's stuck with me. I'm going to explain to you about the pets shortly, but for now we're going to start with these guys, the heroes basically. The robots open locked doors. You will come across some locked doors, and each one of them requires a special key. This guy can basically, I think, open them without keys. So, and he also gets discount on the scrapbot, which is an in-game vendor. He's like a merchant which appears inside the while you are exploring the planet, and you can buy stuff from him. You can buy the yeah. We will see soon what we can buy from. But yeah, this guy gets a huge discount, 75%, which is not much actually. You don't really need. It's quite cheap. They're very cheap. The items you can buy anyway, so you don't really need that discount. But the locked door is pretty convenient. Plus 10 fate for this guy, the emissary. Okay, we're gonna explain what fate means. We're gonna explain all these stats, what they are, shortly. Yes, let me explain the stats. These are the stats. As you can see, very simplistic, not much depth to them. Strength standard, it increases your attack power. Wits, it allows you to evade enemy attacks. And fate increases critical chance. Now, as far as I can tell, there is no way for you to increase your fate. So you can basically wits defensive and strength offensive. Fate really depends on the weapon you're equipping. As far as I can tell, there's no way for you to increase it. This is how you increase your stats. You can increase your strength here, you can increase your dodging here, and your health points right there. And of course, as the more you upgrade them, the more the costs will increase. I recently increased my wits. I had like 600 metal. And yeah, that's what happened. I don't know what this one does. +1 charge. I have no idea what this means. Maybe I should have checked the forums. I tried checking some of the official websites and stuff like that. Yeah, I have no idea what these two means. I did level them up a couple of times. Yeah, I just don't understand what they are. But I use them anyway. And right now, apparently, I'm at level 31. Yeah, again, I don't know what this is. But yeah, it's level 31. So I'm trying to go for a gun build, a build based around guns. This one in particular is very effective. It allows you, this item allows you to destroy a bunch of tiles in a room, and we will show you shortly how it works. But I'm gonna be using mostly using it in an emergency situation. And you can see here there are these numbers below the guns. I don't know what these mean. I think it means that these are the number of the charges you have. Like you can use the DNA extractor twice in every room, which will recharge automatically after a certain number of steps, after you walk a certain number of steps. Yeah, so it means I think this one you can use it only once on every level, this one only twice, or maybe twice on for every number of steps. I think that's how it works. I never actually managed to figure out how many steps it takes to recharge the gun. But anyways, we're going to be using it regularly anyway. And since we have like 3 guns to choose from, so we're going to be having a steady supply of things to shoot. You know, a steady supply of ammo to shoot with, yeah. The allergen gun shoots, it deals damage directly. It doesn't deal a lot of damage, but it's quite effective in the early levels. And the DNA extractor, every time you kill something with the DNA extractor, it will leave behind a corpse which you can harvest and turn it into a companion. So this is actually a very good way to recycle companions, or at least to acquire new companions as you go. And combining it with the allergen guns, in the early levels, these are going to be very useful. You never know, your companion might die, right? So you always have an extra companion to use. The explorer is simply to clear out huge rooms, and you can just move forward. And I will show it to you shortly. It's actually pretty cool. The explorer is very interesting. You can buy new weapons with this, or as far as I can tell, you can synthesize with equipment. You can create them, and I've already created a bunch of them actually. And now each one of these, I suppose, indicates the level. For some reason, every time I go with this one, it gives me a helmet, and every time I go with this one, it gives me a weapon. I think this one is more likely to give you weapons. So yeah, it's kind of weird. It's a little bit unbalanced there, but it doesn't matter. I have plenty. Now, I usually end up acquiring more helmets than weapons for some reason. I don't know why. So I equipped the best I had for this particular playthrough. What I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna try to do a random run, or a explorer mode. Yeah, I'm gonna do explorer mode. I've reached a distance of 24. I'm not sure if this is considered high or not, but I'm gonna try to do another random run with explorer mode and see how far we can go. Now I gotta be honest here, these equipment I have, they're not the best I have ever acquired. For example, there's a helmet which I once played with, but I lost it unfortunately, which gave me which allowed me to absorb electric attacks. Now in this game you will come across some enemies that attack you with electricity. I think this guy actually attacks you with electricity. So if you have electricity absorption on your helmet, it will allow you to absorb the attacks of this guy. So you can basically heal yourself for free, which is amazing. Of course, if you have, if you have electricity absorption on your helmet, it will allow you to absorb the attacks of this guy. So you can basically heal yourself for free, which is amazing. Of course, if you have electricity absorption on your helmet, it will allow you to absorb the attacks of this guy. So you can basically heal yourself for free, which is amazing. Of course, if you have sometimes you have a weapon that attacks with electricity. It has an electric attack. So if you attack robots with an electric weapon, it will actually heal them. So you need to be careful in certain areas. Now this guy here we have with us, the pet I acquired earlier, he actually has an electric attack. So once we reach the robot areas, we're gonna have a hard time with this guy. He's gonna start healing our enemies. We might actually have to replace him. And come to think of it, we might actually need to buy a pet. I think we buy a pet. Yeah, this is where we buy pets, I think. Yeah, this is it. We should probably get something else. But for some reason, I like this guy. He's very useful in the early levels. And I don't want to lose him quite yet. My favorite is probably this one, the robot. This guy is amazing. He has very high dodge, very high health points, and the attack is huge. Now, the crystalline ally is actually better. It deals more damage. Except for the fact that it heals robots. That's probably, yeah. So if you want something more stable, I think the security slicer is better. And furthermore, if one of the best runs, I think, is to have a security slicer with you and have the electricity absorbing helmet. It means both you and your pet will heal yourselves every time you attack electric enemies. So you don't even have to attack the enemies. You just run around and let them heal you for free. This is something I actually did before. I really hope I come across that combination in the future at some point. I might actually try it for you. It's amazing. It's very fun to play. So yeah, these are the two weapons I have right now. This is probably the best weapon I have right now. It applies harvester, which means it can cut down plants and mushrooms, I think. Yeah, this one applies physical resist. I think it's pretty cool, actually. Most of the enemies you meet in the game will deal physical damage. So this is, I think it's perfect. It's amazing. So yeah, these are the two weapons we have right now. The idea is to run as far as you can, and I will show you the gameplay shortly. This is the guy who is supposed to be helping you. He does nothing really. He just unlocks the new areas. When you start the game at first, the only thing you have is the storage space. You have nothing else. Eventually, when you play through the levels in Explorer mode, do some missions, all these other squares will unlock, allowing you to buy equipment, buy pets, change your character, and level up. That's how it works. And this guy you can buy stuff from, I think. We're not going to be using him for now, yeah. There's a lot of items that I don't really use, I don't like. For example, this one adds cold damage. I think it's quite useless. Why would I do that? I mean, unless you're because as far as I can tell, there is no way for me to identify which weapons are weak against cold or not. There's really no way for me to know. I'm gonna have to experiment and guess, which is not something I really enjoy much. I mean, which is, you know, it's a staple of roguelike games, but I'm not very good at them. So this is a good way for me to introduce myself to that kind of game. I mean, really, if you look at these guys, can you tell from reading the description which one is weak against fire? Sometimes they tell you, sometimes they don't. Well, okay, these two guys are probably the only two I have ever found that are directly sensitive to heat. Yeah, this one and this one. Okay, it doesn't say that it's sensitive to heat, but because it's a plant type character, so I would assume it's weak against heat. So yeah, again, there's some aspects are very poorly explained. And once again, there is not a single one of them, as far as I can tell, that is weak against cold damage. None of them. Now look at this. I've read them all. This one is in fact immune or even resistant to cold damage because it's a snow tunnel crablet. It lives in snowy lands. Yeah, these guys you can see here, the robots, they absorb electric damage. Resistant to chemical and heat. Okay. Again, none of them is weak against cold. So why would I use cold damage? As far as I can tell, it's a bit of a handicap, actually. You handicap yourself by using this thing. It's completely useless. So yeah, that's how it goes. And like I said, I will be playing it with the guns here, using Miranova here. I called her Miranova because it's based on the StarCraft character. If you guys played StarCraft, you will recognize it. Mira pretty much looked exactly like this one. She has like purple hair and that. This guy looks like Ben Stiller. If I end up playing with this guy, I might actually call him Ben Stiller. And so there's a bunch of characters. I'm pretty sure there's an actor joke in there somewhere. Somewhere in there, one of these guys actually looks like an actor. Maybe these one as well. This one looks like Kate Blanchett, I suppose. Yeah, this one, Kate Blanchett, perhaps. And the other guys just, yeah, the other guys look pretty cool. Anyways, I feel like I'm missing something. Is there something I haven't explained? Actually, I pretty much explained everything so far. Yeah, this is how simple the game is. Every now and then you will get some challenges. This is a daily challenge. It will give you a starting amount, a starting gear here. I don't know what these are. I might actually try one of these eventually. And this is the Explorer mode, which is the meat of the game. This is where the majority of the replayability comes from. This is where you will probably be exploring. This is where you will be unlocking most of your most of the library. And by the way, yes, I just remembered. Research level. Every time you fill this bar up, you will gain a free item. The game will reward you with free items. So how do you fill this up? Basically by discovering new things. Every time you discover something new, whether it is an enemy or an event like these, I will explain events eventually. New companions, every time you find a new companion, every time you use a new weapon or equip it, this bar will fill up. Pretty much everything you do that involves finding something new and doing something new that you haven't found before, yeah, it will fill up this bar and you will get new free items and such. So for example, there are certain mechanics here. Okay, I'm actually gonna explain the events. This is something actually worth explaining. Events are basically random items. They're items that are found within the world, and you can interact with them, and they will give you a choice. You will have to do something. There's gonna be a random stats roll, and something will result from it. You will either acquire a new item, an enemy might spawn, or you will just, or nothing will happen. It might even increase your stats. And there have been cases where nothing happened at all. It will just enter your library and that's it. It really depends on what you choose, I think. Yeah, so because sometimes you get these eggs which will hatch into aliens and stuff like that. You might get some gems and items that can heal you from them. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff here. I once actually managed to wake up a robot. Yeah, this is one of the times. This is how I acquired my robot pet, which has been unlocked from the pet the pet store. And these are standard missions. The only two I've tried the signal and I've tried this one. And we came across some kind of electric, very strong creature here. Yeah, in all of these, you will acquire some you will come across some very strong creatures, and you will